Our esteemed viewers, and welcome again today to Bioethics Channel, where we discuss about bioethical issues and challenges. Today we are going to look at the issue of the concept of Elechaa Aghara as a basis for good interpersonal relationship. That is tolerance, as they say. My name is Elechaa Aghara, the founding director of this Bioethics Channel. On the set with me today is our philosopher, Elechaa, our elder guest.
Thank you for having me, sir, Dr. Pastor.
The issue of Elechaa Aghara, the Igbo concept of Elechaa Aghara. We want to see how this concept could be the basis for good interpersonal relationship. In other words, you can call it tolerance. So we need to project indigenous thought system that will help us to understand, form a sort of theoretical basis, so to speak, enabling us to understand how we can cohabit with others, peaceful cohabitation, peaceful coexistence. So we're looking at, in English, we call it tolerance. But we have to come down to our indigenous concept so that they enable us to understand it from our own thought system. So the concept of Elechaa Aghara, how do they look at it in your own environment?
Thank you so
and how
much.
can it help us to understand good interpersonal relationship?
Thank you so much once again, Dr. Pascal. The problem we have in knowledge, production and the knowledge assessment is the fact that we have not actually integrated an autochthonous, that's a kind of a local way of comprehension. Some people just regurgitate the Western paradigm. And I want to commend you once again for what you are doing, because it's actually good for you to look at concepts from your own language, from your own indigenous, well-tension. That's a kind of worldview. That is the best way, for you to comprehend the Western paradigm and everything. So Elechaa Aghara is an Igbo concept of to overlook, to ignore, and tolerance. So many people, as simple as the word, when you ask them to define it, it's actually a word that it looks so simple, but in actual sense, most people cannot really pin it down to, in a very, very simple and simplistic manner in which it will be comprehended. So this tolerance, we want to look at it from our own indigenous conception and understanding. So tolerance simply means Elechaa Aghara as, the basis for interpersonal relationships. What we are simply trying to propagate or, project is the fact that Elechaa Aghara in Igbo, which simply means to look at something, overlook it, to ignore, and to tolerate one another for peaceful cohabitation. In other words, it has to do with overlooking. Because when you overlook, you have to overlook things for you to tolerate the other person, in order to have a kind of a peaceful cohabitation or peaceful coexistence with the person.
So thank you very much. But how does it have any connection with what one Igbo popular Igbo musician said, Oliver Igbo? One na dimma Elechaa Aghara, or ina dim Elechaa Aghara. So is it trying to say that a brother and brother or brethren dwell in unity is when you are able to ignore, to tolerate, to overlook certain things?
Yes.
And then even in community relationship between husband and wife, relationship between brothers and sisters, relationship within the community, and even relationship between nations. So there must be something you need to ignore, for what I'm saying, or you need to tolerate, you need to forbear in order to foster good interpersonal relationship. But how far, to what extent can you, Elechaa Aghara, can you tolerate? Must you continue to tolerate, to bear? Or is there any time you can at least be self-assertive to confront the issues? Does it contradict Elechaa Aghara in that sense? When you're always overlooking, and you get to your elastic limit where you can no longer bear. To that extent, how does the Igbo culture handle such situation when you have been stretched beyond your limit of elasticity, limit of tolerance?
Yeah, thank you so much. That song better captures the concept under discourse. One na dimma Elechaa Aghara. That does not mean that you should now habituate, tolerating everything, even the ones that you can no longer hold. What it simply means that there should be areas, it's a mutual understanding, it's a two-way thing. That when it gets to a point that I will overlook, on the other way around, when it is equally your own turn to tolerate me, it's a mutual, it's a give and take. It's not lopsided. You understand?
It must be balanced. It must be that balance.
So if it is on the other side that every time you do something, I will Elechaa Aghara, I will overlook. You will not habituate it that you want to take advantage of me, that just do anything. Or Elechaa Aghara. So it's going to be lopsided and unfair. So that's Elechaa Aghara in such a way that when it is my own time to ignore, I will look at where your excesses and Elechaa Aghara, that means I will overlook, I will ignore, I will tolerate. Then on the other hand, when it is your own turn that I have gone beyond that, what you cannot take, you equally balance it. That is what they are saying. It's not a lopsided.
Yeah, but this is like a sort of moral philosophy, that brings harmonious relationship, that fosters good interpersonal relationship. But what I'm saying is that we live in a world whereby people don't have the same level of moral maturity or moral consciousness. So whereby people will continue to make you to believe that you will always tolerate, to bear, and to forgive. Even the Bible says, when they ask Jesus, how many times can someone offend you before you say you no longer forgive? Okay. It says 70 times 70 or so. Yeah. That means it's uncountable. Yeah. Can you counting from 1 to 70 times 70 or something like that? But when we live with people, you continue to bear. And they continue to behave in a way that is unethical, the way that does not foster a good relationship. What will you do? Is there no provision within the Igbo culture or the Igbo linguistic repertoire whereby you can maybe have another concept that will say, at this time you can strike, at this time you can no longer bear. You can not continue to be while the other person does not play his own part in that genuine mutuality we are trying to preach. So when there is no reciprocal belongingness, what does the other party do? That is the area I want to have issue with this concept of Elechaa Aghara. How, to what extent can we Elechaa Aghara, look and overlook? Continue in that vicious cycle of Elechaa Aghara. At what time can we say no? Enough is enough.
That's why the Igbo people will say that Agama sena namo loramowa mesuboyanai. You understand? We simply translate to mean that you will not say because your father reincarnated, then that child will overfeed the child. So you will not say because of the fact that you want to tolerate, you now over-tolerate to the extent that you have been pushed to the elastic limits. There should be a red line. I think that is the area that you're actually, looking into. There should be a red line that it will get to a point there should be a redress. You understand? So you won't say because of the fact that you have formed a habit, or you have actually it has become ritualistic for you to Elechaa Aghara to tolerate. Then because of that, you will now go to a point that even after tolerating, you are not fulfilled yourself. You are not happy.
Yeah, you begin to suppress feelings. Because it's at the end of the day, repressed feelings never die.
Never die.
You want to find expression.
One day it will look for is a latent feeling that you are no longer.
And when it bursts, it will be more disastrous.
So that is where the other side, the second person in question, the second party, will have to have a kind of a dialogue. That I think this thing, like we say that so it has gone beyond tolerance level. There should be need for a mutual discourse to address.
Okay, we're trying to understand how we can apply this to foster human relationship, to improve human flourishing. Yeah. So when we're looking at bioethics, we look at it in the area, what we do, the stuff, the conceptual issues we pick up from our culture, how we can use it to foster human flourishing, to better condition of humanity. Because whatever we do in this world has no meaning outside a human person. So how can we improve human flourishing in the midst of this crazy world where there are so many issues, when there is no the peaceful existence is encumbered by certain factors. And then we have growing rise in discrimination, division, internal dissension, external aggression, all those stuff. Even intrusion into your own personal autonomy. So how do you handle all this? So we're looking at how we can apply bioethics, our knowledge of bioethics, like the knowledge of how to use our knowledge to improve human life and flourishing. That's what we're looking at. We are still going to expand on this, then apply it to phenomenology and existentialism. And we have to go deeper in philosophy, look at it from the existential point of view, look at it from phenomenological point of view, and then see how we can build an ethic that is in consonance with the need of the time. and can improve human life and flourishing, and address the excesses of the other party in our effort to improve human relation and good communication. So thank you for joining us today once again. You're always giving us an enriching insight. Philosophy is good.
Yes.
Keep it up.
Yes. Thank you so much. Yeah.